All right. All right, indeed. Hey, everybody, it's Patrick Kirby from Do Good Better Consulting. You're in for a treat today. We are going to kick off a brand new learning series with a whole bunch of entrepreneurs and business people and consultants. And I thought it was going to be national. No, we are kicking it off internationally here today. I am completely honored. I am completely humbled to have Mr. Steve Kuhn join us all the way from Budapest, Hungary. He is a decorated U.S. combat veteran. He is an international author. He is an international speaker. He is a consultant to CEOs and stars galore. And he is joining us here today at the Do Good Better Consulting Studio. Steve, how are you today?
Wow, after that one, I feel great. You know,
I'm going to be your hype man. I'm just going to go and follow you around and be a hype man.
That sounds fantastic. Thanks for having me. Yeah,
I love it.
It's all true. It just sounds when it's all put together like that. That's 50 years. You just said 50 years in about 10 seconds. So I guess it sounds like a lot.
No, it sounds great. I know. And there's nothing more embarrassing than somebody telling somebody your bio in front of you. I understand that.
Yeah, it's strange. Yeah.
Well, this is fantastic. And so today's cast here, the video and podcast thing, is all about helping nonprofits think like a for-profit. And I think this is something that you and I connected off immediately with the idea here. But first, let's do a little bio, shall we? Kind of who are you? What do you do? How did you get here? Kind of real quick, and we'll dive into some stuff. How about that?
Okay, great. So, I served in the military 8 years, and I did the entire 8 years in Germany. I went to Iraq in Desert Storm. After Desert Storm, I got out and stayed in Germany as a civilian. So I got what they call a European out and just stepped off base and was a civilian. I never even went back to the States. And what I did there was I had to find something quick because I was a combat arms soldier, meaning that I was on tanks. You have no applicable job in the outside world except for a professional tank driver. And I think there's like 4 positions on the whole planet. And so highly competitive. So so I decided to do what a lot of people do when they get out of the Army. I started in security. So I did doorman and I did security guards and things like that. And what I realized real quick is that my benefit was that I knew how to talk to people. So I knew how to make people feel comfortable immediately. And I used that to my advantage and worked my way up until I had, worked into a bar, and then I switched to bartender, and then, just going on like that. And then I had 3 bars, and I had a nightclub, and was making all kinds of money. It was great, just horrible nightlife. Well, it wasn't horrible. It was great, actually, but it was horrible for real life people. You couldn't live a real life like that. You were going home when everyone else was getting up, going to work. It was like a parallel universe. And I got asked by a guest one time if I could help them bring their health club chain from South Africa to Germany. I was like, sure. I never did it, but why not? And I did it. And after 2 or 3 months, I was the general manager, and then I took over the country. Then I got headhunted by a British listed company on the London stock market who also had a health club chain. And we ended up opening 87 health club chains, health club locations in Europe in 9 countries. And I did about 35 of them by myself. And what I learned there also was cooperation, collaboration, working with local governments, working with local nationals, things like, and it always comes back to that human aspect. And I took that on in Berlin. I took that to the political arena, and we started a nonprofit 13 years ago. And that nonprofit now generates about $500,000 a month in donations, automated online. And that's a program and a setup that it took us 13 years, not just me alone, but the whole organization. There's 3 of us, and they're all of our employees and workers and all these people. It took 13 years to put this together. But what it did is it allowed us to actually focus on the work that we do and not just on fundraising. And that's the biggest problem that I see, is that all you ever see is, hey, we're looking for this. Hey, we're looking for that. Now, you see them coming, right? You see them coming. They have that look on their face, like, oh, shit, they're going to ask for money. I'm serious. And I hate to say it like that, but come on, guys. It's time. It's a new era, Yeah. And so, after all these years, I've done a lot in between. I worked, like you said, I worked for a lot of celebrities. I worked for, I spoke and I worked with the EU and at the Parliament, the German politicians, German party heads. I work and coach one at the moment too as well. Very heavily involved in the politics in Germany for a while there. Now I have to back out because it's got too big. Everyone says, "Oh, look at CIA," and I said, with my mouth, I can never be CIA. So it just sort of made everybody look bad, made everybody look bad. So I had to pull out. I'm just still on the board of advisors, but that's about it. And I sit on a couple boards of a couple different companies all over the world, whether it's energy companies or whatever. It's just basically because of the way that I deal with people.
Mm-hmm.
It all boils down to that. How do you deal with people? How do you get the best out of people? And especially when you're talking about nonprofits, how do I get people to want to give me money and want to do it in a way that'll be lasting and not penetrating them every 6 months asking for more money?
Right. I think that's where the business and the nonprofit worlds merge. If you were going in and you were selling a widget somewhere, and
Right.
every time that you called the company, you're selling a widget, they're going to stop picking up the phone because they don't want any more damn widgets, right? And so the same principle goes with nonprofits. If you're constantly begging for money and you're not appreciating and you're not building a relationship, a mentor of mine always said, never ask for a major gift unless you know the name of the person's dog. And from a personal relationship, that means you're asking people about their life rather than how big their checking account is. And that bond is super important. So I'm totally with you on that.
Well, it's key. I mean, the first time I ever raised any money was back in probably 2003 or 4, and I was sitting in Hamburg, Germany, in a private business club, 3 stories above the courtyard of the City Hall of Hamburg, which is beautiful. And there was and I was sitting with the guy I was trying to get money from. And I knew everything about this guy. Harvard grad, German, which was sort of cool in a way. Spoke perfect English, the whole works. And just way out of my league, like way out of my league, right? But I was able to, relate with him, so it was easy for me to talk to him. And there was a woman down there and said, "Excuse me, Sonny," older woman in German, "how do I get up there? The terrace looks beautiful." And he said, "Sorry, it's a private club. You can't come in." And I said, "Do you want your kids to be down there? Do you want," I forget, it was Uva and I forget what their names were. "Do you want them to be down there asking to come in, or do you want them to be in here?" And he says, "Wow, that's messed up. You asked me that question." I said, "Well, that's what we're talking about here. This is what we're going to do. This is a grassroots movement." And I went to the whole spiel. He said, "All right, how much do you want?" I said, "We're going to start out small." And in Germany, you have transfer slips, right? Yeah. Transfer slips that they fill out and sign and give you back. And then I go to the bank and I get his money. It's like a check, but not really. So I gave him one. And I said, "Fill this one out now. And this one here's for later. Send it to me." And
great move.
Yeah, and he signed it, and that was my first money. Yeah. And like we were talking before, I said, "Man, this is going to be hell trying to get money from these guys," because that wasn't enough to do much. Because I got to go back to him again. What am I going to say this time? Talk about his dog, his mom, his sister, Mm-hmm. So what we did was, we'll get into that later. But there's so many different ways, there's so many different tactics, there's so many different natural ways to get something from somebody.
Yeah.
And we can get into that once we get to the main thing. But the one thing you just said, if you're not educating yourself about the person you're asking money from, not only the person, but the company, the individual, the history, what if they've donated before. I mean, and you can't blame them. Everyone says, "Oh, I have a nonprofit. I'm gonna go out. Oh, it's gonna be great." And they're excited, of course, but they didn't educate themselves about how to run a nonprofit. They don't educate themselves about the people they're speaking to try to get the money, and they wind up looking a little shoddy.
Yeah.
And I see it all the time. People approach me all the time. "Hey, Steve, I get this nonprofit. They send me a link. Donate here." "No, nothing. Just here, donate." "Steve, I know you're a good guy. Here, donate."
Yeah. No.
I'm not going to read through your whole presentation and see if I want to, make a decision to donate. I'm not going to do it.
Right. That brings up a really good point, because as somebody who probably gets approached a lot, just to be either a participant or a board member or a volunteer. "Hey, can you post this about my charity, or can you use your influence here and here?" What's the difference between ones that you go, "Boy, that's an interesting piece," and the ones you go, "The hell are you doing?" Like, yeah. What is that line? Because I think when this kind of crew who's watching this, who are development directors, are always looking for, like, "Well, I don't have any street cred here. I don't know how to approach these people, or I don't know how to, this is way out of my league," kind of where you were saying, this is way out of my league. How do people get into that league? And then what is a turn off and what's a turn on?
Well, the league is simple. The league is just be yourself and actually be 100% honest. I mean, the thing that people think, as soon as they start asking for something, they're in the defensive. So I have to look right. I have to say the right thing. They get nervous. They start sweating. They start swallowing in the middle of their, like, and then I want to take you to the, that kind of thing, and all these telltale signs. You're like, "Oh my God, dude, settle down, relax. Yeah. We're good here." The thing that I always say is, if you educate yourself, practice in the mirror, your spiel, whatever it is, but be ready to talk to that person and listen to them and hear what they have to say, because they're going to tell you everything you want to know in the first couple minutes, but they're not going to tell you directly. So if you're not listening, you're not hearing what they say, you're going to miss it, and you're going to ask them the same question that they already tried to answer politely, and now they're going to get rude with you, probably. Yeah. Or harsh, or short, or abrupt or something, because you're not listening. You're so focused on getting your message out and getting to the point where you get to ask for the money, which you hate. So you want to get past that part. So you could laugh and joke, right? That you miss your whole opportunity to bond with this person.
Yeah. Yeah. And it gets to the point where they've already had a meeting with you. They know you're a fundraiser. They know you're asking for money. How can you relate? Like, you've already won. So don't get out of your own way. And then make them feel as if you are you're the best charity in the entire world, and make them feel wonderful about what they're about to do. Because we're hardwired to give and feel great, right? I mean,
right.
When you give, you feel awesome. I mean, it's one of the most selfish things in the world, and it's okay, right?
Yes, exactly. And that's especially in America. Especially in America, we give more money per head than anybody else in the world when it comes to charities.
Yeah.
And Facebook picked up on that. And every time someone has a birthday, they're donating to some damn charity. It's like, oh, gee, I can't. Please don't wish me happy birthday. Donate to my charity. Timmy's dog pickup or something. It's like, okay, whatever. And I think that when I go to ask people for money, which I don't do anymore, because I'll tell you why in a few minutes. Yeah. It's all automated now. Is because I don't know if they're going to even like or even relate to what I'm asking them for. And that's what some people, they never ask. They never find out. So I'm going to go to some guy who's a politician and, who's a business guy and uses petroleum out the yazoo. And I'm going to try to get, Greenpeace, in donations to be like, Greenpeace, you kidding me? Get out of my face. Yeah. So I got to be, aware of what I'm doing. And to be blue-eyed enough to think that everybody's going to love your nonprofit because it's a good thing. It's just, you're shooting yourself in the foot, because you're going to look unserious. You're going to look unprepared. You're going to look unprofessional.
Yeah, it's okay that that everybody doesn't agree with your stuff, and the big donors are going to be the ones that actually like you. So go to those people. You can cast a wide net.
And it's the hash. Well, I would say at first you find out, first of all, the people who have the problem you're trying to solve. That's the first thing you got to do. Yep. Who has a problem that you're trying to solve through your engine? They're the first people you got to promote, approach, and I'll tell you why. First of all, you're going to get it easier. It's much easier to get their money. Second of all, it's going to create momentum for you, and winning begets winning. So once you start winning, you're going to roll into, hey, we just got $500,000 from them, 20 million. What are you talking about? 30K is a problem.
Yeah.
Are you going to step up to the plate like the other ones? Or, what I'm saying? Like, you can talk to these people like once you have a relationship with them.
Yeah. That's a wonderful point. So there's a lot of nonprofits, especially here in the States, and especially the smaller and medium-sized ones, who do direct programming. So like it's, whether it's somebody who a kid's got maybe a disability, and then they're in the program for the disability or whatever that is. Right. And a lot of nonprofits are very scared to approach the families getting the services from the actual organization, because they're like, well, they're too close. I'm like, those are the first people who believe in you. Why would you do that? And they're just like, well, I don't want to cross those particular lines. They want to help.
Well, this is the problem with helping. First of all, there's helper junkies. They're the people that spend their whole entire life, out in the desert somewhere in Africa helping kids, and then they end up not having a life, and they hate themselves for it. I know a bunch of people that ended up sort of old and single because that's all they did their whole life, and they try to kid themselves that they have a fulfilled life when they actually didn't, because all they did was give away, and they never received. And you have to receive to be a balanced human being. You have to be able to receive something to be able to give something of value. And if I'm a doctor and I'm giving help and I'm helping orphans and whatever, that's great. That's amazing. But what about you? You're an empty shell of yourself if you do that. So that's a big point that I always like to say. But also this helper syndrome, when someone starts, like everyone says, I want to start a nonprofit. Why? Because I want to help veterans, the 22 veterans a day who commit suicide. I'm like, have you looked how many are out there that deal with suicide? There's like 25,000 of them. Mm-hmm. And you're another one, splitting the effectiveness of whichever agency is doing, whichever nonprofit is doing the best. Yeah. So why don't you join them? Or what? No, but I want to do it my way. Okay, well, then you're not talking about giving, are you? You're talking about a profit. You're talking about doing something you want for benefit. And that's the thing we got to watch out. There's been a few, I won't name them, but a few very notable frauds, or like for instance, March of Dimes. It's called the March of Dimes because only a dime of every dollar goes to the charity.
Yeah.
The rest goes to administration and salaries. Yeah. Goodwill, name them all. Goodwill. They all have a very, very, very big, waterhead, they call it, right? So corporate waterhead, where all of their money goes to paying for the bills. Then you have these other guys that give 100%. I'm like, well, what are you living from?
Right.
Well, no, yeah, I can't. What do you mean you can't? You're providing a service, and if you're good, you provide the service good. You're going to grow your organization. You need to get paid.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's this whole misconception that being humble means being broke.
Yes.
And yeah, or so I'm righteous because I'm not earning a lot of money.
Mm.
Okay, if you do it, if you do it ethically, there's nothing wrong with earning money.
No.
When you're in a nonprofit, if you write on paper and you're transparent, and here we go with HIT, my core values is honesty, integrity, transparency. Is I'm honest about what I'm doing with all the money, and I put to the public, which most of them don't. I put to the public and say, this is what I'm spending on salaries. This is what I'm making. This is when I pay myself a bonus. This is when I do it. And you put it out there. No one has anything on here. Honesty and transparency. The byproduct of that is integrity. Yes. So look, they might not like what you do, but you put it out there. Mm-hmm. And this is all you ask. The problem comes when people try to, and they write invoices to themselves and all kinds of stuff. I mean, I've done it all, so I know, back in the day when I was learning, it's oh, you can't do that? That's not legal? Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's
but that transparency piece is great because, a lot of people do get hung up on, hey, you've got only 82% of your donate dollar goes to your charity. I'm like, but you have to hire the right people and maintain. North Dakota, for example, has
you got websites, you got funnels, you got all that stuff, man. Come on,
and you've got to pay for it.
You got tents and you got tables and you got fares and transport. I mean, there's so much out there. Food, drink, all that stuff.
Yeah, and you've got to provide that. And if you're not providing that at an event, well, then you've got a shoddy event, and you're going to get shoddy, sort of attendees, right?
Which is why my nonprofits don't do events anymore, and we don't do $500, $800, $1,000 plates anymore. The cost of those things are ridiculous. Mm-hmm. You have to take $1,000 a plate because it costs you $500 a plate just to even do the thing.
So some of those big upper echelon ones are just amazing. And if you're a small nonprofit, do your small private events, do those things, make your ask kind of things, and that leads to really just a giant question that I think a lot of nonprofits have. And you kind of hinted at it, where don't be embarrassed about, becoming a successful nonprofit. It's the idea of abundance. Nonprofits for the life, I can't figure it out, but they are riddling themselves with the inability to understand abundance and how much money is out there and how much they deserve it if they're selling it to the right people and they're providing it.
Put it this way: the definition of abundance is life expressed. That's what abundance is. It's life expressed, and what that means is, everything you're doing for all those people you're helping, the expression of that's abundance, man. So live it, grasp it, embrace it, and run with it. Yeah. I mean, it's a beautiful thing. The problem is it looks disingenuous if I'm trying not to be abundant because I want to look humble, righteous, whatever you want to call it. Look, being broke is something you can fix. Being poor, that's a mindset right there. Yeah. You got to get rid of that mindset, being poor. Being broke is not a good thing. It's not self-righteous, no matter what organization tells you. Sometimes the churches say that, you got to be humble. You got to be humble means poor. It doesn't mean poor. Humble doesn't mean poor. It doesn't mean broke. Humble means just, put the other people first. Think of yourself less. Yeah. Not think less of yourself. Think of yourself less. Right? That's what humble means.
That is a crippling mentality in the nonprofit world. They just said, well, we cannot have, we've got to ask the board for a couple of paper clips, and then the board counts the paper clips. And you're like, so much time being wasted on trying to nickel and dime your way out of some things where you're missing big impact. And
the nickel and dime comes because again, they have to be accountable for everything, and they're scared of, getting charges pressed against it because, you have the watch, for instance, they have these watchdog organizations. And the problem with the watchdog organizations in America is that they put all nonprofits are sort of on the same plane, but they're not.
No.
So one that's actually doing well can look bad, and one that's bad could look good.
Yeah.
And so I know one specific nonprofit that's having a real problem with that because they don't understand the nature of their nonprofit, and it's a service dog organization. So they don't understand the kennels. So they're saying they're spending too much money on their administration, right? So the watchdogs give them a low rating because they're spending too much on their administration. But they have kennels. They have to train the dogs. They have to hire dog trainers. They have to hire trainers to train the owners of the They're getting the dogs. I mean, this is a lot of overhead there, but the impact they have on these soldiers' lives, poof,
Yeah.
amazing.
And,
So these are the kind of things you got to work on too.
and that's where the impact is in the storytelling and the ability to connect comes back. I mean, come full circle, man. So how would you in kind of your position, as a business person who runs, sort of has that charity, how do you start thinking about storytelling and impact stories that you can create to have that bond between either organizations or people as you're sort of fundraising?
Well, the first thing I like to do, I like the pull, sort of a pull notification. Everyone talks about push notifications. I like pull notifications, which means I'm going to have a solution, like I said before. And this is what I do for business too, by the way.
Yeah.
I have a solution. I have a clear solution, my silver bullet, a clear solution. This is what I do for the problem, which is this. And then I go out and search for those people who have the exact problem. They're my first clients, customers, whatever you want to call them. So the first thing I do is get my messaging right, and that's that branding, branding messaging. I'm not talking about logos and cool colors and a really cool logo. I'm talking about your messaging. What is your mission? What's your vision? What's your value proposition? What do you do? Who are you? What do you stand for? Where do you come from? That kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And what that does is it gives you 5 pieces of language that you can use in any situation. Whether it's PR, whether it's an interview, whatever it is, you always say the same thing, and that's a huge discrepancy. Is that I talk to you from NGO, from nonprofit X, and you say one thing. I talk to the board, they say another thing. I talk to this guy, they say another thing, because they all have something different in their head, and they think, well, this is better if I say it this way. Yeah. Next thing you know, what the hell are you talking about? He just said this, and well, who's this guy? You know what I mean? So get your messaging right. That's the first thing you got to do, and then you got to find out who's your niche, who is your avatar, who's your niche, what's their problem, and solve that puppy. And on your website, it's called the grunt test, right? The grunt test. This is genius. It's from Donald Smith from Brand Story. Yeah. So the grunt test on your website, before I scroll up or down, left or right, I have to see 3 things. Who are you? What do you do? Right? What's your company do? Right? And what's the problem you're solving? Like, what's in it for me? Right? And then how do I get started? So CTA, call to action. So it's like, who am I? We take care of wounded dogs. Your dog is up and running in 5 days or whatever it is, and then order here or donate here. Boom, done. That's what I have to see. I have to make the path to success for my company as short as possible and as informative as possible. If I'm not doing that, I'm a knucklehead. So you got people scroll. Like I literally went to donate, and I'm looking up and down and left and right, where do I donate? I had to go on like a sub-page, and at the bottom is like this little button, please donate, because they're embarrassed to ask. But they have this huge website. You're like, what do you think? You're here. You're an NGO or a nonprofit. You're supposed to take money. So yeah, get your messaging right, find your avatar, and then put that solution on the grunt test solution on your website. I'm telling you, that's going to change everything. I'm talking 1/3 more traffic.
It's unbelievable. Yeah.
Click through, right? Yeah.
Yes. And a lot of nonprofits who, you said it too, they're embarrassed to ask because they have, if they feel the need to ask, that'd be great. I've never known a person who is in a position that they're going to ask you the question, well, how can I help? And if you don't have a snap answer to that, you're in trouble.
Well, I got that snap answer for everybody here. If you want to write this down, PPR, problem, product, resolution. Problem, product, resolution. Also from Donald Smith. So what's the problem that you're addressing? Yeah. What's the product that solves that problem? What's your service, right? And what's the resolution look like? That's your elevator pitch. It takes 20 seconds. And you know what that does? Is it takes you away from being the center of attraction when you're trying to explain your and then we do, my mom, and she helps out in the administration department, and my dad does the paychecks, that kind of stuff. It's like, you just do problem, product, resolution. For instance, if I was a training company like Salesforce or something like that, and I would say to you, you would say, hey, Steven, so what does your nonprofit do? And I would be like, well, you know how when managers get training, so leaders get training, and they all speak, after this training, they all speak sort of a different language, and there's no congruency there? And you go, of course I know, that's ridiculous. Everybody says a different thing. Well, we have a software that actually makes it impossible to happen anymore. And the resolution or the end product is that everyone speaks the same language, making your communication to the outside more congruent and increasing your revenue. I don't have to say anything else. You know exactly what I do now. You just know I have a software that trains leaders to say the same language to increase revenue. Done. That's all I say. Problem, product, resolution. I don't have to hee-haw around and try to guess what's going to sound good to you. That kind of stuff. You got to be prepared, man. You got to walk out going into battle. You got to put on your armor. You got to have your sword. You got to have your weapons. You got to be ready. Yeah.
And you know what that does? That eliminates the I need to just, well, humble, and I just, if you only want to give to me, that'd be great. No, this is what we do. And if you don't necessarily ask the question, well, tell me more about that, we can move on and have a relationship that doesn't involve money, which is great because you probably know somebody that would relate to how my organization is fine. But if you take so much time trying to explain the nuance,
it's not even that. It's the energy.
Yes.
The lack of energy, the weird energy, the strange sort of nervous, embarrassed energy you have. It's like when someone stands in front of me, like, stop. You want me to give you money? I do this. Like even on the phone when they call, I say, stop. If you want me to give me money, just talk to me. Like I'm a man. You're a man. You're a woman. Whatever. Just talk to me like a human, and we're good to go. And I'll understand. I'll ask questions if I have them, and if not, then we won't move on. Simple as that. Yeah. What do you mean? Well, I have to do this. It's like when I was training sales teams, we had a process, right?
Yeah.
And the process was the guy comes in, the girl comes in, you talk to him, you ask qualifying questions, the whole process. But every once in a while, you have like this D type, this dominant type comes in. Hey, I want to buy this. And they're like, okay, could you fill this out, please? It's like, what do I need to fill this out for? Well, it's the prospect sheet. Well, but I want to buy something. No, well, I don't know what to do. I have this process, and I don't know. You know what I mean? It's like they sit there and they try to force this person who wants to buy to take them through the process because that's what they learned. Flexibility. If someone says to you, I want to buy, you're like, here. But, that's what you do. So this process that you have is not static. It's fluid, right? Those words you say, that's static, but the process itself is fluid. You got to be fluid. Look, I don't know of a time that I've ever asked for money where it felt uncomfortable, number one. Number two, I never, ever walk away with zero. Mm-hmm. And then that's going to surprise you when I tell you how. And this is a free tip for your listeners.
Love it.
Everyone says this, well, I can't have budgets end of the year. And, we've already planned for 2019 and maybe come back in 2222 or whatever, mm-hmm. And, that kind of stuff. And you're like, hey, no problem. I get it. Not everybody can donate today, but you know what you can donate? Your emails, your contact list. I'm going to send you an email. You just send it out to your contact list. I'd be very appreciative. And we'll list you on the website as a supporter. Thank you very much. And they're like, okay. because they turned you down for money, and either they're harsh or they're embarrassed about it. Like, okay, sorry, I'd really like to help you, especially if you have a good relationship. That's key. And then if they can't help you, say, hey, no problem. I want to send you an email. You send it out to all your contacts. And I did that one time. The guy said, you know what? I don't want to send it out. I'll give you 5 million emails. So he donated 5 million emails, which I could numerate, meaning I could write an invoice for him, right? Or he could write an invoice for me.
Sure. And
we could sort of pay him he could pay us as a donation, right? And we used those 5 million emails. We took the money that I had donated from the first guy that I told you about, and then we made a video. The video was encompassing what we do, and it was a really good video. It cost us, a good amount of money. And we put that out, and it took us almost 3 months to send 5 million emails because the servers kept breaking down. We actually moved the emails offshore because the government kept shutting them down because we were like sucking up all the energy or whatever we were doing there. I don't know enough about internet to know what we were doing, but kept shutting it down and crashing. And we ended up making $1.1 or $1.2 million just from those 5 million emails. Yeah. So you see how powerful the money isn't the power. The contacts are the power. Yeah. And this is where I'm going to get to now. And this is the secret to our automation. I'm not going to tell you the whole secret, but I'll tell you how it is. We have contacts. We have emails. We get about 5,000 new emails every single month of people who want to see our information, who want to donate. How many nonprofits out there without a massive budget is getting that many emails? You know how much we pay for that? Zero. Mm-hmm. Zero. And there's ways to do that. And it's genius because people are like, oh, please take my email. Please, 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 please. And it's not a competition, and you don't get free shit. It's not that. Okay? It's real. It works, and we do it every single day.
My mind is racing now, and I'm sure everybody listening is going, I want to know more. Well, you are in luck, my friend.
I bet.
It's a very good transition. We're going to drop all of your information in the comments below because I think there's a lot of organizations, even from small to that deserve a conversation, if nothing else. We'll begin a conversation. We'll tag you kind of in that social media piece too, because I think it's important to develop that for sure.
Indeed. I want to tell you why I'm not telling you.
Yeah.
It isn't so I can make money on it. It's not. It's because I've told this before, face to face with a nonprofit owner head, and they didn't implement it. Yeah. And it's because of this. When I tell you for free, when I tell you just like that, it has no value. I'll do it tomorrow.
Yeah.
But if you say, Stephen, you call me on the phone, you get an email, we get on the phone, vice chat, and I sit down and say, look, what I'm about to tell you will change your life forever as a nonprofit owner, as a nonprofit, organizer. It will change the way you do business. It will change your success massively.
Mm-hmm.
Are you ready for this? And if there's no sense of sort of, then I'm like, okay, let's not do it then.
Yeah.
Because what we do here, it's every day, it's used every day all over the globe, just not for nonprofits. It's such a simple, it's so ridiculous sometimes when I think about it.
Yeah.
And it costs nothing. It costs zero.
Mm-hmm.
And you could get, we're getting 5,000 mails a month, new ones every single month.
Mm-hmm.
What can you do with 10,000 emails? How many donations do you think you could get?
Yeah.
10,000 emails.
Yeah.
Think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, and you break it down even more. There's even another way to break it down even more where you can automate that whole process of the donation to it's ridiculous. So yeah.
God, I love that. I love it so much.
Yep.
Yeah. Again, there's so much good stuff here. And again, we just came up on 30 minutes and I can't even believe it to be true. Your PPR, right? That's unbelievable. You make sure that you've got your call to action, make sure you've got your who and what you do and what problem you solve on your website. There's so much good stuff that you just unleashed.
For free.
That's what it is. And it's unbelievable. And you're the absolute best. And I am, again, I feel I'm fanboying. No, it's fine. but I'm so glad that you were able to carve out time. I'm so appreciative of you, and we're gonna start the conversation in the comments and all over kind of where we put this. Thank you.
Indeed, my pleasure. Indeed, my pleasure.
This is going to be a blast. I'm super excited about all of this, and we'll connect, and this is going to be fun.
Let me plug something here real quick, if you don't mind.
Plug away. Yes, absolutely. Well, you're
okay.
guest on the show. You plug. I love it.
Well, my website's probably listed below, stephen-kuhn.com, but that's not what I'm really talking about. Is that I have a program which is it's called the Immediate Impact Revenue Program, and that's where entrepreneurs, nonprofits, people who are business owner operators, not corporates, come and join my club online with a bunch of other entrepreneurs, and we learn together. So I have presenters. For instance, I have presenters from all over the world. I have, like the founder of the Dollar Beard Club, made $10 million his first year. He presents on e-commerce trade in my group. So we have all kinds of people in the group that actually learn to run, grow, scale, and make their business a better place for $149 a month. So you have 3 to 4 live sessions a week, every week, 3 to 4 live sessions. If you want, you don't have to attend. That's $149. And then I'm coming out with this new class starting on the 3rd of January. It's going to blow it out of the water. It's the last goal setting session you'll ever need. Meaning every year, it's time to set the goals for 2019. Oh, it's time to set the goals. Yeah. And I've over the years I've found ways to actually reach the goals that I wanted, but those goals that I've set have been sometimes 10, 15 years out.
Mm-hmm.
And working towards them with little targets in between the goals, because targets fall, goals don't, right? So you need targets in between your goals. And when you know how that works, not only do you internalize your goals, but you actually reach those goals. Because how many times have you said, I'm going to quit smoking, or I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do that, and the next year I'm going to quit smoking this year, but this year I'm going to lose 10 kilos, I'm going to lose 10 pounds. No, but this year I'm going to start eating healthy. It's all those kind of things that you can change like that when you know how. There's a very, very easy 4-step process to make it do. It's not easy, but it's a 4-step process you can do. Let me give you a tip. For instance, if you want to change a habit, just saying I want to change a habit is never good enough. You got to put stuff in place, and you got to put tripwires. I don't want to call them tripwires, but actually positive tripwires across your way so that you remember, right? Yeah. So we're coming out with that class as well. Just stay tuned. Like my page, Stephen Kuhn Official, on Facebook, and we're good to go.
We're going to go and tag all of that in. And you know what? And here's the thing, from a goal setting standpoint, every nonprofit organization, every board of directors, and every executive who's watching knows exactly what the budget goal never changes, right? Yep. But everything along the way does. And so how to navigate that, I think, you could make a very good case that a nonprofit should give you a buzz and learn about that, if that is the only thing that they will.
Yeah, exactly. It's and by the way, that goal setting course is an 8-week course. It's once a week, a video, and once a week a Q&A with myself and my partner, and it's $99 one time. That's it. If you don't have $99 to do that, to change your life, I don't know who does. And we're literally doing that as our own little nonprofit.
Yeah.
Like we're saying, you know what? As many people as possible should get on this, because this is amazing. It really is. I mean, look, I'm sitting in this new house here that I manifested. I sort of made it happen with my goal setting within like 3 months.
Yeah.
So it's possible, and it's a process that actually works.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, but as far as the nonprofits go, I mean, if they really want to automate their maybe they don't want to automate it. Maybe they can justify the jobs. But if they want to raise the amount of money they make, and they want to do it automated, they need to talk to me for real.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah. All right, my friend.
We're going to connect. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for your time, your energy, and your enthusiasm. I love it. We'll drop the links in the comments, and we'll keep the conversation going. Thank you, my friend. Steve Kuhn.
All right. Rock and roll.
Right. Steve, friend. Thank you.
Yep. Bye-bye.